On and now we're live.
There we go. Welcome, everyone. I will call this meeting to order. This is a meeting on June 17th, 2026 of the Glendale-River Hills School District Board of Education. We'll start with a roll call. Katie Avalos.
Here.
Chris Robinson.
Here.
Carla Pennington Cross is here. Danielle Bailey. Here. And Karen Cromwell, our fifth board member, is excused. She is on vacation. At this time, if you wish, you may stand and join in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, moving on to item 1D, agenda approval.
I move to approve the agenda. Second.
All right, motion by Danielle Bailey, second by Chris Robinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 1E, approval of board meeting minutes from June 3rd.
I move to approve the minutes from June 3rd.
Second. All right. Any edits or concerns?
Yeah, I think there was a note that got published that shouldn't have.
Or A.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit of technology.
I think it's
Can
the
you?
long range or A. It's a question. Can we
Yeah.
post pre?
Yeah, that was it.
And
Can
post
we omit
meeting
that?
charters?
Ah, right, just have to delete the parenthetical. The internal ideation. All right, anything else? All right, there's a motion by Chris Robinson with a second by Danielle Bailey to approve the board meeting minutes as edited, discussed just now. All in favor? Aye. Minutes are approved. Meeting grounding. Did I invite anyone to lead a grounding?
I had a moment like, did I say?
It was like, it is there.
Pride month, that would make sense.
Yeah, it would.
But no.
Okay, well, I just in case I forgot, I found a quote. I was thinking about, Anna and I have been talking to that, just how hard we have worked for the past 2 years to rebuild systems and rebuild institutional practices, the standard procedures in place. And I know when I'm on social media, I see administrators taking the hit all the time. So I just want to ground us in gratitude for our administrative leadership team throughout our district, because you all have worked so hard. Michelle and Anna, you're the ones who are here today, and Diana, that I just want to say how proud and thankful I am for all the incredible work you've done. I found a Lao Tzu quote, which I loved, from the Tao. And this is what he said. And it says a he because it's, the time and day, right? Thousands of years ago. A leader is best when people barely know he exists. When his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will say, "We did it ourselves." Just love that. And that just sits right in our equity non-negotiables, right? This idea of empowerment, that great leaders empower others and empower people to share that kind of process of success. So I just thought I'd share that as a tickling thought. That's it. All right. Moving on to item 2A, public comments. At this time, visitors may speak on any non-agenda items if they wish.
Nothing online.
And nothing in our sitting audience. Thank you. All right. Moving on to, let's see, we've got nothing under whole child growth and success and empowered community. So moving on to item 5A, staffing changes.
I don't care about this. Not that we do. All right, so I am going to be presenting the following staffing changes for board approval. We have resignations for Sandra Newmeyer, Glen Hills Special Education Teacher, Chrissy Russell, Parkway Elementary Teacher, Kelly Francis, Glen Hills Choir Teacher, Michelle Young, Glen Hills Science Teacher, and Kim Aiken, Parkway Elementary Teacher.
All right, should we do it all as one? or, well, whoever wants to make a motion, you can do it however you want.
I move to approve the resignations of Sandra Newmeyer, Chrissy Russell, Kelly Francis, Michelle Young, and Emma Kim. Not a call for first.
Can, is that second? Can
Come in.
May, oh, she's gonna murder.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, and discussion, let's start with Katie today.
Wish them well on their future endeavors.
Chris?
We're grateful for everything that they've done and
For my part, Chrissy was Nick's K-5 teacher. She's been with us a really long time. And yeah, this is a sad lot to say goodbye to, but very grateful for all the service and love that each of these people has given to our kids. Daniel?
Yes, and I've had personal experience with my kids and family with Miss Young and Miss Kim, and I'm feeling those deeply. I'm feeling those deeply for myself and for our district. And I know that all of these people contributed a lot as well. So grateful and wishing them well.
All right, anything else? Any visitor comments? All right, there's a motion by Daniel Bailey, second by Kitty Avalos to approve the resignations of Sandra Newmeyer, Chrissy Russell, Kelly Francis, Michelle Young, and Kamei Kim. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion regretfully carries. Okay. Okay, thank you, Anna. That's a lot of hiring then you have to do. Yeah. All right. All right, moving on to item 6A. Revenue, et cetera, for May 2026. I now notice that the agenda recommended action asks for approval of May 2025 revenues, but we all know what it actually means. Yeah. We'll stick with 26.
So, in this agenda item, we have reports, financial reports for, the month of May 2026, and some of them are specifically May, and others start for the fiscal year July 1st, 2025 through May. The first report is the fiscal year 26 revenue and expenses by fund. There's also a summary of that. We're looking at the general fund, the actual revenues of $13,681,175, actual expenses through May, $15,502,424. The month of June, the district will see, will record open enrollment and tax revenue, remaining tax revenue, which will change that, which you'll see in July. Fund 21 special projects, current revenue of $13,266 and actual expenses of $43,651. And we are billing the majority of these costs to the foundation TO for grants they gave to our staff. Fund 27, actual revenues of $3,674,896 and expenditures of $3,673,721. The non-referendum debt fund, currently revenues through May, $1,090,776 and expenses through May of $1,087,750. Our capital expansion fund, currently has revenue of $7,965 and no expenses those are not allowed until 2027 in the fall. Food service fund, currently revenues of $372,615 and expenses of $352,467. And then our community service fund through May has revenues of $297,834 and expenses of $314,068. The next report is accounts payable disbursement checks for the month of May, and those total $962,136.35. of that amount, credit card charges, in the amount of $16,608.07, were updated there. Those automatically come out of our account. And then there is a credit card report showing, more detail on that $16,680.07 credit card bill. Then the fiscal year 26 summary of pay, benefits and disbursements, through May. Says April here, but it is through May. Let's see. We now have 3 pages on this, and May had, gross payroll of $890,335.29. Benefits of $314,981.29. And then, we had retiree insurance payments and HRA benefits, totaling, well, the HRA was $1,991.56, and then the retiree insurance payments, $21,732.23, for a total payroll and benefits of $1,229,040.37. And then AP checks, ACH payments, and debt payments all totaled $395,387.93, for a total for May, the month of May, of $1,624,428.30. And then the bank balances, and investments, cash and investments, ending May 31st, 2026, $8,297,380.24. Attached also is the updated June 2026 budget calendar, showing what we have done to date, and then also what is upcoming. Any questions?
Thank you, Michelle. Let's start with a motion. How's that? Anybody wish to?
I move to approve the revenues, expenditures and payroll for May 2026.
A second.
All right, we're starting with Danielle this time.
I just had a couple, I think tiny questions. There was a lot of like tech replacement and stuff, and I know you keep like, you have that sort of budgeted on a cycle so that like these weren't unexpected necessarily, or like were they in line with what we anticipate to be?
They are in line,
That
they're
would make
part of the
sense.
budget, yes.
Okay,
They
okay.
were.
Cause I just, when we
have
have
more
when we
upcoming too.
focused on tech a long time, it was like, oh, okay, we were going to start sort of like creating a cycle, so that's what these
Yes.
look like, okay,
Mhm.
okay. And then, well, that's all I have.
We can come back around.
That's good.
Katie? Chris?
Just, I'm guessing that as often is the case, food service bills are lagging behind, so it looks like we have more in that account than we're really going to have.
Yes, when Adam reconciles the month, we also have the activity from food service. So he records those revenues, files the claim, and then records the revenues
Okay.
before we
Thank
get the bill. Yes, yep.
The only thing I noticed, and I'm curious about, I think I know what the answer is, but when I look at, your summary of revenues and expenses, I look at Fund 10 and I see actual expenses to date are 15 million with a budget of 22. So it looks like 11 months in, we've only spent about 70% of that budgeted amount. So that's a lot left. Is that because the sped transfer not happening yet? Because you know what I mean, like I would expect like 1/12 to be
Right.
remaining if things were going month to
Right.
month. So I'm curious why that's such a small amount relative to the total budget.
We still have, I'm trying to think, four paydays for our teachers upcoming that
Ah.
will be, so you'll see, those will all be updated.
So there's still
To
more
June.
coming.
Mhm. We have, over 3 million transfer that's going to fund.
Fund 27, that's the big hit, isn't it?
Well, that going to Fund 38 and then more additional
Oh.
funds projected to go to
Oh,
Fund
right.
27. And then all expenses that, trying to think if they're open enrollment.
Oh,
It's
so
gonna be
this,
updated there.
Million plus.
so we still have to pay open enrollment out,
Mhm.
and then the 22 million includes the 3 million.
Yes.
Ah, got it,
Mhm.
okay, that all makes sense. All right,
I
just
updated
curious
that-
where the
I
left.
updated that because the board had approved that
Right,
change.
right,
Mhm.
you're the best, you're on it. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Any visitor questions? All right. Thank you, Michelle, as always. Motion is by Chris Robinson, second by Katie Avalos to approve revenues and expenditures and payroll for May of 2026. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. All right, moving on to 25-26 final budget adjustments, item 6B.
Last month, the board approved the budget adjustment to pay the $3 million. And now we have additional adjustments. There is a attachment showing the budget amendment for publication. And this is showing,
I don't know if this will
will
work.
it work?
No,
No?
it'll work on camera though.
Oh, okay.
While you're talking about it, they'll see it.
Yeah. So the total changes in revenues, we have a change, an update in earnings and investments. We had originally budgeted $1,192. We are amending that to, or requesting that to be amended to $164,400. And then the insurance claim for the flood that was $150,000. So we had zero budgeted there, requesting to update that budget. That would be a total anticipated revenue increase of $313,208. And then we have multiple budget adjustments in various functions to get our budget amounts close to our actual. In those total expenditure changes, $317,126, that does include the $150,000 for the flood. We had, I think, approximately $203,000 for flood damage. And then also an increase in our interfund transfer of $91,846 to pay the interest on the $3 million debt. So projected ending fund balance with these changes would be a decrease of $3,918.
It's a tiny percentage thing.
I was super impressed by that.
Very impressed. Yeah.
So do we have to do this for nominal amount?
Yeah, and it's a good chance for us to see the over-unders, right? I mean, you're guessing, and then to see how overall with the noise, you still come up and that's in the right place, yeah.
And again, transparent.
Yes. All right, let's start with a motion. If anyone would wish to make one.
I move to approve the preliminary the 26, 27, right?
No, this
No,
is,
I'm
we're
sorry, I'm
going
in
to
the
be
wrong place.
asking to approve the 25-26 final budget
Budget
adjustments.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, we don't apologize.
I'll try again. I move to approve the final 25-26 budget adjustments.
A second.
All right, discussion, Karen is not here. Chris, any further questions? I have no further questions, just thank you. Thank you for the clarity on this. For me, it's actually fun to see how you're, a lot of this is about coding, right? How you code things to see where the numbers go. Yeah, so it's cool.
Yeah, it's a vestige to your expertise, which is awesome. No.
Katie? All right. We have before us a motion by Chris Robinson with a second by Katie Avalos to approve the 25-26 final budget adjustments. All in favor? Aye. And many thanks. For that, Michelle's hard work continues. Moving on to item 6C. Recommended approval of the preliminary. 26-27 budget. For. Not for the June hearing, right?
Sorry, I didn't look closely at this enough.
We are looking to approve the 26-27 preliminary budget, right?
Yeah.
It's the end of the year.
Would you like a motion first or?
Because we've already met the budget at the
Mhm.
public hearing, we don't need it presented again, right? Okay, and we met the budget last month at another meeting, so just for anyone who's watching. Who might want to know where this preliminary budget is for 26-27, not 25-26. You could find the budget attached to a May meeting, right? And then also you could look at the public hearing that just happened an hour ago. All right, so would anyone like to? Well, let's start with a motion. Who wants to make a motion?
I move to approve the preliminary 26-27 budget for the June,
Not for the.
not for the June hearing.
Just approving the preliminary
the budget.
26-27.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I meant.
Is there a second? Katie Applewood seconds. Okay, then now is a chance if people have, if board members have questions or thoughts.
So just point of order on the motion, because I think when we do it, you do want us to approve every fund separately? Or
Do we?
no? We have in the past, is that necessary now for prelim or?
No, just.
Okay.
And those funds are there.
Okay.
Board's reference
That's
on the
okay,
calendar
okay.
to make sure that we are passing a budget in each of those funds.
Okay, so don't need a motion for it, right, each one, okay, sorry, just checking.
Staying cognizant of the year that the sped fund was left.
No,
out.
yes, I do understand.
I don't think we need to do a.
Okay, no, we
Right.
had in the past, that's why I was
In
asking.
October, we would.
Okay.
Do the final budget, we would.
We
want
will
to
do
it
each one.
twice.
Okay, all right, all right, cool, thank you.
All right, so this would be a chance for any further questions or comments from board members that you feel weren't already answered. And I have nothing left to ask, but I'm gonna double check. Yeah, just my comment that runs in my head is that I continue to think about how even though the number goes up each year, I need to wrap my head by October around how much we're actually cutting, because I do feel like nominally the number goes up, but there are specific areas where costs are going up, like health insurance. And so I know you guys are working hard to make cuts where we can. I need to wrap my head around that a little better. I wanna try to come back to it this summer and understand that, because it looks from the outside in always like the number keeps pumping up, but I know you're working on efficiency and finding ways to tighten things up. And I know a huge part of our growth in budget is because of voucher expenses that we expect to go up, so. I just need to better understand that, and that's just something I need to footnote for myself, so. Danielle?
I like that idea, I could see it being like a graphic too, where you can just show bars of inflation and costs, the cost rising, but where we are actually decreasing our spending. You know, kind of like, kind of show. I think two things is, the estimated appreciation in local property value, we've received ours, it's about 9 or 10%, like our valuation has gone up, and that's been a lot of our friends too.
This,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, that's just, 2%, just, but I don't know if it feels like it's across the board.
I think, one of the concerns that we have is we've talked to some people where that has been consistent and other people where it potentially hasn't. The concern would be that some people, if it's not consistent cost, that could cause some discrepancy in how people are taxed then, which
Yeah.
would
which happened last month.
It happened
Right,
last,
and we have no
um,
control over that.
No, I
Right,
know,
yeah,
I just
yeah,
wanted
that's
to put that.
No, but I do think it is an
Reality
important,
out there.
I think it is an important reality to consider because it will impact people and they'll feel it in their tax bill, right? And we wanna make sure that we have clarity around the fact
Yeah.
that when those assessments come through
Mhm.
and that happens, it
Mhm.
impacts what our estimation is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I just wanted to point out is, several times we talk about the, per pupil revenue increase of 325. And I guess just want to point out that that is not because our state has chosen to continue to increase. That is a mandated 325 set, what, a couple years ago, a few years back.
Through a line item.
Through Tony Evers, and it was one of the things on the chopping block when legislators were trying to negotiate the fulfilled or unfulfilled promise of reimbursing special education at a higher
Oh,
rate.
right.
So they want to take that away,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think that it's like, it is, something we can count on for now, right? But also, it's not because our state is recognizing the value of our, of our students'
Mhm.
education. It's because Tony Evers tried to carve out a
Mhm.
small, piece to help public schools. So that, I feel like that is something as, board members, we can make sure to remind people, like,
And to note in Michelle's presentation that 325 is not a match to even the inflationary rate that we're paying.
well,
Right.
it probably
Still, that-
was when he said it. It probably, I think like 325 might have been close a few years, right? That was my guess, and then it's just not gonna keep up because you have to pick a number. So anyway, that's just another piece, and the advocacy has to continue. Katie?
I had asked you a question, Michelle, and I wonder if I could sort
Yes.
of restate it, because I think it's a good, it's for the public. The proposed budget has us spending more on support services than on instruction, which is different than we normally do, and so, I acknowledge that, we have approved some things that made that happen. And, but I also wanted you to address it from your more global perspective.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we were looking at, the budget shows for instruction, 7,530,136, and this is in the general fund. And then, support services of $7,737,666. And one of the major differences between those, is we are budgeting for a large Chromebook replacement. And that is being coded to 221,500. So the 220 instructional staff services function is where we would record those. That's a major difference. Also, the increase in transportation that is coded to the 250,000 function. General increases, one thing to note too, a small increase in insurance. And then debt service, we will be taking out a line of credit, so that interest goes in the 280,000 function, all of those in those support services. Also part of support are all our pupils, our counselors and our coaches, our math and English coaches, reading coaches. Yeah, those are support.
Coaches don't go to instruction. I wouldn't have,
Thank
you. Okay.
You're welcome. So those are the major changes.
Sorry.
You did additional position due to caseload too for special education.
Yeah.
That's another small.
Does sped support then sit in outside of instruction?
Some of them are instruction, but, our psychologists and, pupil services directors, those are outside, those are the 220s or 200s.
OT, PT,
OT,
related
yeah.
services, all of that would sit outside.
Yeah, that's just, yeah.
That's interesting. That's news. Thank you for the question, Chris. Anything else? Yes. I just want to point out, it's a good year to be thinking about advocacy around budget, because next spring is biennial budget season. So this is a good time for us to start gearing up and starting to think about where we want our advocacy as a board to lie and our leadership in community or to do some community organizing, to go to our people at the state and, yeah.
One other question too, if I could, on the budget,
Mhm.
is in our Fund 46. That is our capital, oh, I'm sorry, Fund 38. And it's not showing on this budget for adoption, but it was, showing in the hearing where we have over $4 million in expenditures this year, and that's the majority of that is the $3 million debt payment plus 91,000 of interest, where next year we're looking at expenditures of $605,483. So quite a large difference, and that's what that is from.
Right.
That's just the standard payment schedule.
Mhm.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
that interest.
With the anticipated re-amortizing.
Yes.
Yes. All right, any other questions? Thank you as always, Michelle. There is a motion by Chris Robinson with a second by Katie Avalos to approve the preliminary 26-27 budget. Do you need a roll call? On something, I would, yeah.
Just for.
Let's do a roll call vote, just to be clear. Katie Avalos,
Aye.
Chris Robinson,
Aye.
Danielle Bailey,
Aye.
Carla Pennington Cross votes aye. The motion carries. Our preliminary budget is approved. Thank you so much, Michelle. It's a mountain of work behind such a small motion. Not many words in the motion.
Almighty.
Yeah. Mighty motion. All right, moving on to 6D, flood insurance.
So the board approved in our May meeting, the insurances for the district, and one of those was flood insurance that would cover, Good Hope and Glen Hills. Because Parkway sits in a flood zone.
Right.
Not in the section.
Yeah.
Because Parkway sits in a flood zone, we had to, seek insurance elsewhere, through our broker, but not that same policy that would cover the other, the other schools. That policy covers up to $1 million. And getting quotes for Parkway, they came back with 2 quotes. One is with a $5,000 deductible with a premium of $11,987. And the other option 2, is a $50,000 deductible with a premium of $10,377. You can see that the building coverage would be covered at $500,000. Contents would be covered at $500,000. The deductible, you can see the deductible difference between those two, and then the premium difference. This would be effective July 3rd, 2026 through July 3rd, 2027. And I need to check on that, why it's the 3rd, not the 1st. That could be a typo. So I will check on that. The waiting period, a standard 30-day wait. Coverage does not begin immediately upon binding. The property is located in flood zone 8E, which is a high risk flood zone, and that does change. It's not always, they look at it every year. It could change over the years. The foundation type is a crawl space, which is factored into the rating. So we are recommending that we have this coverage, that we obtain this, because currently we have nothing. And there's some other insurances that maybe would cover some of the things that would happen there, but they probably wouldn't if the underlying cause of a flood
Right.
is not covered.
Right.
So that, limit that. So we are recommending that we purchase the flood coverage with the $5,000 deductible.
All right, let's start with a motion if anyone would like to make it.
I move to approve the purchase of flood insurance, option 1 with the $5,000 deductible and a cost of $11,987.
I'll second.
All right.
All right, discussion, Katie.
I guess I'm just kind of baffled that we didn't have this already. Although I guess it shouldn't be, but yeah, it just seems like kind of a no-brainer that we should have that. I mean, I live in that neighborhood. And to have a mortgage in that neighborhood, you have to carry flood insurance. So, yeah, but yeah, I suppose it's just something no one really thought about.
Yeah, I asked them, why didn't we have?
Again, shot.
Yeah. Chris?
Thanks for your due diligence.
So this means we'll purchase it, but if there's a flood during the month of July, we'll have no coverage. Flood insurance
Right,
coverage.
I
So-
actually looked at one of the quotes, it does start effective 7/3, waiting period 30-day wait.
So let's hope for no flooding in July, even when. What, do you know what the reason?
no flooding.
Do you know what the reason for that is?
It's so that you can't obtain coverage when you think
You
something's
see
coming.
like a storm coming and you're like.
Interesting.
Sort of like health insurance. right?
I get it. It's a moral hazard. It's just,
Yeah.
but it's I mean, if you're gonna buy it, then July is a good time to start it, because that's usually a pretty dry month, right? July and August. It begs a question whether you should just wait until August one and purchase it, because August is the driest, right?
August is when we flooded last year.
That's true though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when your neighborhood was destroyed.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, just curious about that. Danielle?
No, thanks.
All right, we've got a motion by Chris Robinson, a second by Katie Avalos. It was a very specific motion. I think I got it down. To approve flood insurance, option one with $5,000 deductible for an annual premium of $11,987. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. And for the umpteenth time, Michelle, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the hard work that you have presented today. We appreciate you. All right. Does anyone need a quiz before we get to our last item? Everyone's good? All right. Let's move on to the superintendent report, item 6E.
Great, so I had the opportunity to clean up and then had a couple more edits that I also put in, so we should be good to go on the charter. Although if you take another look at it, please let me know if there's something that I missed. So I want to make sure we get it right. Now that the charter is in place and it's kind of laid out some of the charge, the recommendation, Michelle and I've had an opportunity to talk, would be that we are thinking that we would like to move for a draft of a request for proposal is attached to this agenda item for the board to review, to move towards looking at basically a request for qualifications of somebody to come and help and lead that work. Specifically outlining some of the board priorities for that person to have an emphasis and focus on. As well as being able to look at doing a condition and survey and facility audit, safety and security assessments, educational adequacy and programming study, ADA, universal design, site circulation and infrastructure, and then looking at the committee facilitation and community engagement components to help support that. And so really looking at having some of those deliverables phased out with falling into the timeline of the facilities charter that you've also implemented. So we would like to move forward and with the RFP to begin to look at this. Wanted to get an opportunity for you to just provide direction and to also think about any feedback that you would have around that, or any concerns that you would have before Michelle and I might embark on that process.
Thank you, Ann. Yep. Danielle, you're on first.
Pass.
Katie?
I mean, I like it. It looks like you put a lot of work into it. Yeah. It looks good to me.
Chris?
I think it really reflects what we talked about, and this is reflected in next year's budget, the cost for this.
Yeah, it would be next year's budget, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it would have to fall into next year's budget,
Mhm.
and it would be a matter of us, I mean, cost would have to be a factor in determining who would conduct that work. right?
Right, so I looked at this very loosely, unfortunately. I avoided board work for the last week. I'll be honest. It's the end of the school year. So you are looking with this RFP to find a person who's gonna lead the committee, basically, right?
Well, I
Or be the facilitator.
to help facilitate that and to help
Mhm.
produce some of the meeting agendas and work through some of that process so
Yeah.
that we're being thorough in terms
Yeah.
of taking a look at the conditions of the facilities and doing
Mhm.
all the assessments and bringing in the expertise, like I mentioned, within here, like bringing the expertise of Baird and looking at expertise in other areas if it's needed.
Right.
And really articulating what we should be looking at as we do the facility study.
I think it's a great idea, because I don't think you and Michelle have the time to run a committee like this and to give it the full attention that it needs. So thank you for doing, approaching it this way. If there is an RFP, does the board have to approve it? Do we typically approve RFPs? I don't think we do, do we?
No, so I'm really
Just
bringing it
letting
to
us-
you
yeah.
to like
Yeah.
Make sure it's copacetic.
copacetic with you, and then
Yeah.
also I'd love having your eyes on something in terms of
Yeah.
thinking about some of the concerns you might have with, how we look into that.
And
you-
then,
Yeah, and it just, I mean, you're really critically looking at evaluation and selection process too, and sort of taking a look at some of those components as well, if there's something
Right.
in there that you feel is necessary that we should be looking at, so.
and then I know you and I have talked
Mhm.
about this, but the first item on scope of service is condition surveys. And I just wanna make sure we're all on the same page, because I think you're anticipating someone would not start from scratch, but would bring fresh eyes, right? They can use whatever we have, but you're anticipating a fresh survey potentially, right?
I think oftentimes my understanding and what people could look at is to ascertain existing conditions. I think it could be worded in either way. Typically, my understanding from talking with people who work, around those facility assessments is we would be looking for somebody with expertise who could either audit and confirm the work that has already been done, or look at if they feel like additional work needs to be done. I think but it would be looking at asking somebody to take what's there and say, okay,
Go forth.
is this an adequate starting point? Or are there things in here that should have a closer look to them? And I think it would be important for our due diligence to have somebody look at it with fresh eyes like that.
Yeah, I do too. I agree. So yeah, I love the idea. I like the idea of going out to RFP, and I like the idea of having an outside professional help facilitate what the committee is doing, kind of stay focused on all the moving parts. My goodness. It's like that one.
Because that's kind of what I was sitting with. I think the way a scope of services reads right now, the fee you're gonna get is going to include a full survey, a full assessment, and educational adequacy. Like, I think that it's like, that's the expectation of the services to be
Got it.
received.
Yeah,
So
see what you're-
I
yeah.
think if you want to get some flexibility maybe, or give them, they could
Mhm.
say, if we have to do this, this might be the cost, but if things are sufficient, or we just have to update, it could be this, just a way to perhaps save.
Mhm.
Oh, because it says conduct.
Yeah, it's,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, and it says a selected firm or organization will be expected to deliver the following services, so maybe there's a way within that caveat in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, for sure, I think you could
Mhm.
say,
You could be just like what you're describing.
Yeah.
Evaluate
Review-
existing surveys and
yeah.
And
if
try-
necessary.
And if necessary.
Yeah,
I got it, yeah, I think shifting that would make that stronger
Yeah,
in
that
terms
would-
of our conversation here.
And I'm thinking too, we could put together a bid sheet if we wanted certain things separate from others.
Yes,
Oh, there you go.
yes,
Yeah, that was my only comment, it was just.
yeah, and I know
Give me
I
some wiggle room.
included some language in terms of thinking about the fact that they may work to bid things out, right?
Yeah.
As well.
I like it, and I like how you included a matrix of competing, where the priorities compete. Like how you kind of synthesized what we were looking for in terms of the deliverables, phase 2, final report. I like how like a matrix really does sort of imply like giving us a visual or a chart of like
Yeah,
the trend.
I like the way that was written.
Which is what I would love.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful for us to
Yeah,
have good decision making happening there.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hard from a board perspective. We sit here, there's just all this work being done, and then it's gonna come to us in final, right? And then we have a big decision to
Every
make,
2 months.
and then we'll be like, oh, what went into this? So that particular item helps us see what went into it.
But I
Oh,
think the 3 to 4 actionable long range facilities adhere to like what we talked about, and then
everything's in-
obviously estimated costs for those scenarios.
Yeah.
And timelines, yeah, it's all in alignment. I just,
Mhm.
I like how you fleshed it out.
A+, acceptable.
Right, so,
Yeah, thank you, Anna.
yeah, so in terms of, updating you, then I think what Michelle and I would like to do is get this going fairly quickly and try to
Yeah.
work on like a fairly quick turnaround time to get
Yeah.
things moving, because the
Yeah.
goal would be to start facilitating and getting that committee, into a cohesive group sometime in July, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes,
It'd be
So-
amazing.
that is the plan, that is the plan,
Sweet.
all
It's
right,
exciting.
it is exciting. It is
It's
very
exciting also to know what's happening. I don't know how else to say it. To just have this level of transparency and collaboration.
Mhm.
Great.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Anything else, board members, visitors? We have a visitor, Sheriff.
Cheryl Peters, 2315 West Good Road. Have you chosen the committee members yet?
No.
And how will you be doing that?
I will be, this would be the first step in that process, is really looking at, talking to somebody who has expertise in doing this work to start to think about composition of that committee, and then we would likely do some personal invites and then put out a general call as well.
Okay,
Yep, yeah.
Are you
Are you
indirectly expressing an interest?
my daughter is,
Okay, awesome.
Oh.
All right, I'd be happy to, I would be.
and she's a
happy to-
Glendale.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's a shoo-in, I would say.
Danielle might already have the committee put together.
Only on her own behalf and not on behalf of the entire board.
What's gonna disqualify a person if someone wants to?
No, we would definitely.
Okay, all right. Speaking on my own behalf. Impulsively. No. So good too.
All right, this is awesome. What a incredibly efficient meeting we have had. I don't need to, I'm not jinxing anything because we're done with all our substantive work. It is 7:20. And we have this scheduled to go to 7:55. Jazz hands. Well done, my people. And this happened because of all the long meetings of the last couple months.
Yeah.
Where Michelle and Anna shared piles and piles of information. Yeah. So moving on to item 7A, board preview and planning.
All right. So I have a couple things that I would like to just think about in terms of planning. Our board refresher, we pushed to the side because
Yeah.
we were working through the facilities committee. We have a data workshop scheduled for Monday, the 22nd, the evening of Monday, the 22nd. In my board update to all of you, I will have a link to the presentation, which has the data in it, right?
Okay.
I've also linked a form in order to avoid a walking forum and to try to most efficiently gather. The questions are not required in the form, but if you click it open, it will like walk you through each of the slides essentially, and if you have questions around them,
Oh,
you can just
nice.
type it in. That way it will go into a spreadsheet, and then I can kind of try to synthesize that so that it was ready to go.
Getting a workflow. Is that what's happening?
I'm trying.
Getting to know
I'm
us.
triggered by the words workflow.
I was like, the sis word today, automated workflow.
So-
Sounds great to me.
So there's it'll look like a survey, and it's gonna walk you through slide by slide, but it would be a place where you could just in paragraph form, any wonderings, questions, or any, like, if you're saying like, I don't feel like this information is complete because I would like to know more about this, that would
Okay.
help me,
Yeah.
knowing that I will likely get to that on Monday morning because of
Yeah.
Juneteenth. And so I will be looking at that and trying to just prep myself for our conversation and gather whatever last minute things I need to help answer any questions that you guys have. Okay,
Yeah.
is that
Yes. that's-
Okay,
Yes, please.
Copacetic.
Okay.
Say.
all right, and then, the other piece of this would be thinking about when we want to do the board refresher.
We need to pick a date.
And this corn.
So we could do, I actually don't have the July meetings in my calendar yet.
You might subscribe to the district calendar.
I don't. I don't like the July meeting. So the
I
8th and the
believe-
22nd?
No, I believe it's actually a little bit later.
15th and
Yep, it's the
29th.
15th and the 29th. So those are our two dates that we have.
15th and 20th.
So hypothetically, if you wanna do a refresher, if you wanna continue a Wednesday tradition,
The 8th would be a possibility.
we could do July 8th, or we could do, how do you feel about July 1?
Too small. That's like coming up.
No, that wouldn't work for me. I'm out of town.
How about July 8th then?
8th, this works for me.
You know. Yeah, it works for me.
Just gotta check with Carmen, maybe text her, where's my, but I mean, it's a quorum, but
Yeah.
it'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah,
nice
it's a
if that were
refresher.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to make
Okay.
sure that we include her as well.
So board refresher, so that would be where we would go back to just like basic orientation stuff, and then when are we gonna do like evaluation-y kind of things? I just am always, it's always so loose, but like, we did some goal setting.
With,
I thought we were trying to look at aligning January to January.
Yeah,
But is
Right.
there a point at
but
which,
actually,
sorry, that I popped open the rubric that I made.
Yeah.
For the superintendent evaluation, and I didn't know if we wanted to try to hone in on some key areas, or if we were just gonna utilize that. Like a free and post.
I don't know.
for you.
So I know we had talked about goal setting for
Could we
ourselves.
could incorporate that into the refresher to just talk about
Yeah,
how we're gonna
does
do
that sound
that?
good? Refreshment goal setting.
Yeah, what if we even like took this down a bit? That's so fun. What if we tried doing our evaluation? Like just,
You did a bunch of work.
because
on
we
it
have,
as well.
a board eval that we could
Yep.
like. Do sort of almost like as a trial run or practice and kind of see how it feels, or.
Did we do it in January too?
We haven't done it.
We haven't
We've
done it,
only-
right?
We've only like approved it. We haven't actually.
We talked about it July to June.
No,
No, it was January to January cycle.
oh, wait.
Because of when the contracts came out, I think we were thinking that would make
Right.
more
Right.
sense to do it in January.
Right.
I think we pushed August back this year.
I don't think we ever ended up
We
doing.
discussed and you guys
We
did
did
that
it, I think, in
one,
like February.
and then we created it, so we probably should revisit that as part of the board refresher. And sort of
Yeah,
how
I
we
think so, and then
evaluate
maybe just think
ourselves.
about,
Yeah, that would
uh,
make sense. I
even
think
just
we need
like,
to pull up those documents and refresh ourselves.
and visualizing the evaluation cycle for
Yep.
everybody to see
Yep.
where we fit best. That'd
Yeah.
be great.
And I would say, like, in my conversations, some of my preliminary wrap-up conversations with the administrative team. Thus far on evaluations, I think the idea of moving them to more of a January. There is some school improvement processes stuff that fits for building principles, but I think because of when contracts are signed,
Yeah.
it makes more sense to align those with
Yeah,
the contractual cycle in some ways.
I also think it works in terms of like the mood of students and stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
like to get a mid-year, a beginning and end, instead of like beginning and end where we know. Yeah. Yeah, dip, right? Yeah.
I feel like there's some sort of tiny black hole in my brain. For some reason, I've always struggled to hold on to like what we're doing around goal setting and evaluation. I think we did so much work around it. Like, remember, it was like in every single meeting, my first year or two on the board.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
I don't want to do that again.
No, I think memorializing sort of a cycle or like
Yeah.
kind of formalizing it would just,
Yeah.
then it would just
Yeah.
come up for us.
And I think in the data refresher workshop too, I mean, one of the outlines that you'll see in some of the work that I've put together for that is really your KPIs, our
Right.
goals.
Yeah,
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 So
exactly.
you're,
Yeah.
you'll see where we're meeting, where we're not.
Right.
And where we might need to discuss realignment, right?
Yeah.
Right.
In some areas,
Right.
and that's me as part of that goal setting.
Right, and since the
Yeah.
KPIs are our
Right, we
goals
align our.
as well, yeah,
That's,
yeah.
Ben and I work to sort of align our.
Yeah.
So maybe we can pull all that up.
Yeah.
and-
And I remember we did some surveys and
Yeah,
our
we
lowest
did do
numbers
that.
for ourselves were around like legislative stuff and relationship and community.
Well,
development.
knowledge of internal systems, but we had sort of come to the conclusion that that was because when you know more, you start to understand more of what you don't know, so like you dive deeper and deeper, right? So it was like.
Yeah.
But, those school perceptions, great,
Yeah,
so.
Another component, that I'd like you to just kind of take into mind is, in terms of flipping the calendar over for next, school year to get things ready. Within the GDRH, board document that I do my board updates in, I will start in July in a new section, and I'll kind of like archive, I'll write
Yep.
old, I'll probably hide it, it'll still be there if you ever want to find it, but it will be, like, we can hide it and start a new, update piece. And then,
I was wondering how far I would have to.
Yes.
Each time I'm like,
no,
do I say anything to Anna about maybe flipping the, or no, I'm not gonna do it, I'm not gonna do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yes.
You're all up.
yeah, it's like I do for.
Right.
Nice. So, that part is there, we can always do a career, Amanda, we can figure it out, yeah.
Ignore that.
All right, ignore
Um,
this. I would say troubleshooting.
This
Yeah.
This
But-
is when you start ignoring.
The other part is the other part that I put into place is trying to lay out the board calendar for next school year, and I talked to Carla about this, and we can touch on it in our board refresher, is try to work a little bit towards like a committee of the whole meeting, the first meeting of the month, and then moving into more consent and then financials, the second meeting of the month.
Kind of what we're doing, but more efficient.
But yeah,
So we would have an actual consent agenda for items that we've discussed at the cow meeting.
And would these agendas maybe even look different, like if you weren't addressing whole child in the financial, like?
I don't think so, because
No?
I think we
Okay.
could sit the consent agendas up underneath that to address that, we had addressed those in the committee
okay.
of the whole, so I think we could fold the agenda the same way. I think the really critical piece for me would be thinking about, just something that I've been thinking a lot about is like, when we come and bring it, like, there's a lot of heavy information for you to have time to sit and process it before you're voting on it. I think I'd have additional questions that may need to be answered, those kind of things, like it would allow an opportunity for us to, I'd still want us to prep for those committee of the wholes, and so that we're able to receive and engage in the conversations that we can move it to consent. I would like to just try for at least
Yeah.
the first couple and see where we can get with that.
Which I'm nothing I had to, well, I'm not saying, I'm not gonna say it out loud.
Well, if it's relevant.
No, it's not, it was just funny.
Yes. Oh,
In my
okay.
head, sorry.
So I think it would be worthwhile, so I laid out some of that, that work and getting that.
Yeah.
And then also, Michelle and I took a look at the calendar for next year, and the October dates, I'd like to move to 2 of the later dates because of, like you saw today, when the budget information comes in.
Yeah,
We want to move it, I think it was at the 14th and the 28th, I think is what we'd like to move them to. I think they're the two adjacent weeks, so if you're okay with me making that shift, I'd like to kind of just.
I think we're all okay with
It's
it.
early enough to do that.
We approved a preliminary calendar, right? Didn't we approve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
So
yeah.
we just do we need to do an amended approval or?
Probably, I think that would be.
Yes, exactly. Probably at a consent agenda in the second meeting in July.
Yeah.
We could put in an
Yep.
amended calendar.
Okay.
It'll be nice because we have a lot of confidence and knowledge on the board now. We can move a lot of stuff to consent,
And
right?
there's also just
are
things,
we?
so many pressing things that we have to be able to.
Yeah, and from the other side of it too, I talked with the team here, is also making sure that we have things to you a little bit further in advance, right? And I think that provides an opportunity to move our work a little bit ahead of schedule.
No, I will say that in general, I do feel like we have gotten information earlier and earlier this year. I appreciate that. Yeah. Chris?
Just, if I could request some time for one of the July meetings to do business honor roll, it's due in August.
That is on my list of items. I have it on there for July.
Okay, sweet.
Yep. Do you know which one?
Doesn't matter if you don't.
I can tell you really quickly.
And then we have.
It's just I'm gonna do a records review of.
You're so good. Thank you for doing that. And then July 4th, are people gonna be at the parade? It's a Saturday. You gonna be there?
I wanna sit. I want kids to hand throw our candy out. It's so, never mind, we'll talk about it later.
Well,
It's so anxiety inducing.
I
to
asked-
Throw candy at people.
I asked for a car,
I know.
right, so you could sit in the car.
Or not the car. Like,
You won't stay in the car, you know yourself, especially if we're near the band.
oh, yes, that's right, yes.
Just don't throw candy.
It's a crazy train, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't not dance to crazy train.
I can't not dance.
That's all I have.
Anything else for planning?
Could you just put a quick CISA 1 update for my CISA 1?
For July,
What
yeah.
do they call it? Convention? Anywhere, it'll be like 3 minutes, but. Really all in.
Let's
That's
do it
it.
in July then, right? Somewhere.
Sorry.
And then, I am gonna be ruminating, I'm probably gonna be slinging you guys at some point starting in the summer about getting ahead of the curve with legislative advocacy we can do
Mhm.
around the approaching biennial budget season, so you all just have to tell me if I get annoying. Because I'm kind of hepped up, because if we can start now, it's a chance for us as board members to start mapping out how we're gonna connect with legislators
Mhm.
and maybe start, I like to think of it as building stories. Like
Mhm.
our authentic local story, one thing Anna and I have touched base frequently about this year's, and I know Michelle works on a lot of this too, is the open records requests. I think it's a nice targeted area where we could maybe build a legislative plan, like an advocacy plan.
Mhm.
Use it as a hook to get in with legislators, do some letter writing, connect with education committee members. It could be a hook for asking for additional category of aid. I don't know what it would look like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or some sort of legislative work that could be done to minimize the load for small districts like ours. I don't know. So just something that I want to queue up as a possibility for something our board could commit to.
Well, and it might even be something that where we each are assigned someone to
Yes.
watch and be able to say, hey, they've got an open session on this day.
Yes.
Or that
yes.
kind of thing.
Yep. And there could be community building, like reaching out to other local
Yeah,
board
yeah,
members and
yeah,
partner
yeah.
boards, like what we did a little bit, but we were a little late on it with the tax levy transparency, right?
Yeah.
Cause that's a way board members can stay active
Yeah.
and bring a lot of credibility to our board, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is important as we start looking at capital work. We just need to be engaged and present and knowing what's going on, so thinking about it, so
Let's go on, jeez.
you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, so that's what's on my mind as I think about where our work can reside in the coming year. And where our heads can be, like, adding
Yeah,
value, adding value.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, one last agenda item.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Katie, second by Danielle, all in favor, meeting is adjourned.
This is me, ready.
I was gonna say, I was at Brassville.
Yeah, I've been ready.
Time lessons.
Yeah.
And they
I
had a whole
bet in the
singing
last